Out with Rico and Carla is about to go live online. Catch select moments of All Out hit music, All Out celebrity interviews, All Out showbiz and sports news, All Out fun. Mid-mornings on the Monster. Streaming video on the Monster Facebook page at RX931, the Monster YouTube channel at RX931, or twitch.tv/Monster RX931. Your All Out hosts, Rico Robles and Carla Aguas. Stand by and enjoy the program.
Cheers! That's about.
Guys. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a
One
brand
of
new
three.
day. Like we promised you guys, it's a fantastic Friday. We got a triple header today, and we're starting things off just on the perfect note. I mean, it don't matter how much silver or gold you got. You know, this guy right here is pure talent. We are talking so talented. I mean, if you're into that funky, fun kind of music, then he is the man that you want to have in your life. I mean, your life, not just your playlist, your actual life. Rico?
Ladies and gentlemen from Portland, Oregon, this is probably the first person that we will talk to from Portland, Oregon, but is currently in Los Angeles wearing a very nice hoodie. Give it up for Young Bay.
Hey, how's it
Young
going?
Bay. Hi,
Great.
we're
Hey, what's
good.
up, man?
Thanks for
Hey, just
joining
chilling.
us.
Of course. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
joining
having
us.
me.
Before anything else, how have you been? How is life?
It's good. It's just very, very busy. A lot of sessions right now, just finishing up the album. Touring started up again. Yeah, so everything's moving. It's very busy.
Oh,
I mean,
good for
festivals are
you.
back, stages are back, right? So that's
I
always been,
know.
during the time that it wasn't there. Now, how was the feeling when you got back on stage for the first time? What were the first words you said to the crowd?
So I always say the same thing. I'm like, yo, if you didn't know, it's Young Bay. And then it was just so weird though, being back on stage. It was like seeing gatherings of that size too. I don't know, it's so weird. And it was like, oh wait, we used to do this all the time, like a year and a half ago. It was so odd. But once I was up there again, I was like, oh, nothing changed. I was like, cool. I was like, oh,
I think
back to work.
I think it's great that you guys, like especially artists, can finally start going back on tour because I feel after the year and a half that we've all had, everyone is hungry for, human
Right.
interaction and music and just having a good time. And Young Bay, I think your music really speaks about having a good time, enjoying life. I mean, people are calling you the future of funk. Like, like you're like this really awesome dude who's just busting out music that is sort of different from what we've got now, but is also reminiscent of the music from before. I mean, was that kind of your vibe going into music? Like, was funk something that you always loved listening to growing up? What made you decide to create this kind of music?
Yeah, it was one of those things I always really loved growing up, but it wasn't until I actually started, sampling and like working and like really taking music seriously. I was like, oh, this is one of those things where I'm like, yo, I really enjoy it. I just didn't know I did. And I don't know, I've always like very much gravitated towards like funk, and I always loved the elements like the bass. I love just, like the rhythm of the drums, everything. I love the tones, especially like the strings. I was like, wow, this disco is always one of those genres where people are like, oh, it's so corny, but it's one of those things where like a disco song always can, I feel like, strike that bittersweet feeling that like most songs kind of would aim for, it's, which I feel is really hard to achieve. And I personally, for me, I'm like, I get that from disco all the time. It
Yeah.
always floors me. I love it.
And with your song, of course, with the beats and the funk feel to it, is there a certain dance move that you do? Is there a
Oh
signature dance
man,
move that you do?
man, I got nothing. I'm like, dude, I don't even dance at shows. I'm like, dude, I just show up, and that's the thing. I'm like, everyone's always like, you don't dance, but you make all this dance music. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'll twist in my chair a little bit at home, that's it for me. I'm like, I'll hold my cat up and make him dance, That's the
I like
dance
it.
move.
He's sticking to his strengths. He's sticking
Right.
to what he knows best, which is creating
He's
music.
the money maker. We need him.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think animals in general. Young Bay, I wanted to ask you because a lot of artists, especially during the start of the pandemic, they took it as a sign to really just step back and rest. Some used it to regroup, other people just didn't want to touch music. What was it like for you? Like when the pandemic hit, did you make a conscious effort to rest, or you did you decide no, this is going to be the time where I'm really going to create a bunch of music so that when we can finally tour and things open up, I'm going to release it into the world? Like, what was your plan when the pandemic first hit?
Yeah, it was almost like I kind of had to keep working the whole time too, and even
Mm-hmm.
like at first it was kind of confusing as well. But I'd just come off of our last bus tour, and I remember like quite literally signing like my record deal while we were on tour on the bus, which ended like right before Thanksgiving, like end of November ish in 2019, and right before the lockdown hit. And when I started working on this album, it was like that's the only cycle and kind of process I've known. Um, and it gave me a lot of time to kind of like sit there and work more independently, kind of work remote. And yeah, now I've kind of like shifted how I work to that a lot. And, you know, but it's also like in persons are coming back. So it's been kind of cool to like have to pivot and like change how I, you know, push my creativity. And, you know, there's actual deadlines now and stuff. So that kept me super motivated as well.
The word
Awesome.
deadline, right?
I
But
I
you
know.
know,
know, right? I'm like,
when
it
it
sounds so
comes
scary,
to,
right? Like,
yeah, I mean, when the time, you know, when you're making music, how was your setup with the whole pandemic when it happened? Did you upgrade your
Yeah.
home studio setup, or did you always have an up to
oh,
date setup going on?
that's the thing. Like, I've always had like really good gear at home. Like, I have some analog pieces up there. I have like great monitors, like, got a few racks and everything. But it's like 9 out of 10 days, I'm honestly just sitting on the couch on my MacBook here, just using like the MacBook speakers. And that's how I've always kind of operated too, because just I can like just get out ideas, you know, super quick with, you know, not having to like really overthink, say like sitting there and like EQing, but it's also one of those things where I've worked off of just like the MacBook speakers so much at this point that I'm like, it's like the best reference I can think of as well. Cause it's like most people are just going to be listening on computer speakers or like AirPods. But also I'm like, I just know these speakers so well now. Like I know what works for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so on the fly too. And I'm like, I love that. And I don't want, and I'm like, that's the one thing I will not adapt to anything else. I'm like, this is too easy. I love it.
And hey, the music speaks for itself. I mean, at the end of the day, the equipment is great. It's a great add-on, but if the music is good and the lyrics are great, then it all just falls into place. You know, Young Bae,
Right?
you've collaborated with so many amazing artists, right? I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's also what makes your music so fun. When it comes to collaborations, do you pick who you want on the tracks, or are you given like a short list and they're like, okay, honey, you pick which guy you want. We'll call him and then we'll make it happen. Or is it you?
Right.
Like when you make a song, when you make a track, do you already have the artist in mind?
It's it's like a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
But like my manager and like my A&R have been great. Like I'll pitch like a certain direction or like something like tonally that's like I'm like, okay, I want this kind of voice or like this kind of style. And they'll sit there and they'll be like, okay, let's kind of hone in on like, you know, who else is like that as well and see like if they're a fit. But for most of these too, it's like we kind of had the idea from the get-go once like the track is finished. Like especially with like the one that I just did with Channel Trace, that was one where I was like, okay, like just the tone of his voice, everything, like, and he just got like that swagger about him. You know, I was like, I need that guy on my track. And it was one of those things. It was like he had like mutual friends with us, and they like set us up with each other. It was the same way with most of these. It's actually like which was the cool part is I've met most of these feature artists just through working on whatever tracks we have in this album cycle as well. So it's been really cool to kind of dip into these other lanes and avenues and
Mm-hmm.
meet them that way. And most of it again was like remote, so it's been cool to like finally link up with them in person too.
That's
And now the song
awesome.
gets big on TikTok. Everybody dancing, everybody on TikTok. We're talking millions and millions of people. How was that feeling like? And also, do you have any tips for those who are on TikTok who wants to get the
Oh man.
followers up or get that,
Ah.
get that following going?
Ooh, that's the thing. Like when I tried started going on TikTok, I really didn't know like anything about TikTok either. Because it was still, I think, like relatively newish, or maybe I'm just like out of the loop, probably that. But it was one of those things that was like crazy too, because we were just like, oh, it's kind of going viral, it's doing its thing. Um, and it just kind of happened too, because everybody always asks me, they're like, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I'm like, I don't know. Like, thankfully, just like I'm blessed, and yeah, I'm just happy that people like really love that track and it resonated with them, and yeah, it just kind of did its thing naturally. So I'm super thankful.
I think it helps that you're really talented too. I mean, people are gonna be like, "Bro, what's the secret?" Bro, you gotta
True
have
that.
talent. If you don't,
Be like,
that's it. Sorry.
It's oregano and like a pinch of pepper.
Yeah.
Love it.
Partially
Yeah,
inside,
right.
For those that are
Okay.
tuning in, we do have Young Bay. He's joining us from Los Angeles. Now, here on the show, we do got all out questions. It's just random, fun questions that people would
Hell
like to
yeah.
ask or maybe not ask you. Have you ever tried the milk crate challenge?
Oh, is that what I've been seeing with everybody climbing on those of the
Yeah.
actual milk?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So I just started seeing those pop up. No, oh my gosh, I was watching that thing and I'm like, yo, I'm like, my mother would kill me for even attempting this challenge. And I'm like, and B, I'm gonna fall off of that thing like the second crate up.
Mhm.
Easy. Oh
All
my
right.
gosh. The pain. I can feel it through the videos.
Okay. Thank
Right?
God he's
It's like,
smart. Thank God he's smart because this pandemic has brought out creativity in the best and worst ways, and these milk crate examples are just it shows that there are really like two sides of the spectrum if we're really
I
talking about it.
swear, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I gotta give them kudos for waking up and being like, we're gonna walk on milk crates today and it's gonna go viral.
Honey, it's more like we're gonna get up today and possibly get injured really badly. But
Yeah.
I digress. Okay, Young Bay, the name. Let's talk the name. Who gave you the name? Did you give yourself the name? Did somebody call you Young Bay? Are you everybody's Bay? Why
I mean,
Young
I'd
Bay?
like to be. I mean, I no, it was like around the time when Young Lean was kind of starting out as well, and I was like, dang, I want a name like that. And Bay was like a very popular kind of internet word at the time, and I was like, wow, this sounds cute, and just kind of ran with it ever since.
Oh, it works.
have you ever used the name to pick up girls?
Bro, I wish. I'm like, you know what? I might just have to legally change it one of these days. Oh, like that'd be great. That'd be perfect.
Oh my god. Okay, how about go to lockdown food, especially at the start of the pandemic? What were you just so crazy for? You could literally have it every single day. You
Ooh,
probably were. And
I
now
think
it's
I
kind of
still
like,
am.
okay, what is it?
Honestly, it's like pasta every day. Every day. I
Ooh.
am such a sucker for Italian food. Anything Italian. I'll just get like a nice like ooh. Honestly, I've been having just like a spicy kind of marinara lately, like arrabbiata kind of stuff. I'm like anything spicy, I love.
Mm. Yes, with extra chili
Oh,
flakes.
oh,
Sriracha all day.
I'm like,
Sriracha all
yes,
day.
you're speaking
Yeah,
my
that's it.
language here.
I like
That's what it's
him.
all about. How about some game? Like, what kind of game do you have when you approach women? I just
Shit,
want to get some tips here.
I don't know. I'm like, I wish I had game like that. I'm like, sheesh, I don't know. I'm like, I usually just let Alvin do all the talking. That's my go-to wingman right there. That
Okay.
man knows me perfectly.
All right, so it's good to have a wingman. That's the tip, Rico. So you got to start making friends.
Right?
Young
Yeah.
Bay,
Gotta
we
get
wish
a
we could
cat.
have you. We wish
Yeah.
we could have you for longer, but honestly, I mean, we know you're very busy. Congratulations. Message to all of your Filipino fans who have been requesting for your songs, who have been dancing on TikTok to your songs, who
Whew.
basically are just showing you love from thousands of miles away. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I'd love to say just a huge thank you to all my Filipino fans. Hopefully, I'm back out soon. Hopefully, everything opens up fully, and we can all listen to some funk and disco together and have a party. Until then, love you all so much. Thank you for listening to my music, and hope you have a great day.
Oh, I
There
love
you
him.
have it. This, Carla, it's such a groundbreaking thing because we had Sam Fisher on the show. Now we
Yes.
have Young Bay, and they're in one track. Silver and gold. My man. Thank you very much for joining
Thank you
us.
so much.
Thank you,
All right, you
Young
take
Bae.
care. Ladies and gentlemen, Young Bay.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Hey.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
love him. How precious
Chilling.
was he? How
Right?
precious was he? Seriously.
I'm gonna get a hoodie.
Oh,
I'm gonna get a hoodie. Hopefully,
I
I'll grow
want to
some
like
bangs.
shrink him and then just like keep him like right close to my heart. So when I'm having like a bad day, I just pop him out, be like, "Young Bae, make me happy."
And it's feel good music. That's what it's all about. Waking up in the morning, looking forward to something, getting you to dance and get your day going. That's what it is, man. So if I were y'all, tag somebody who needs a picker upper right now. Do tag them in this video. But this is one of three. We do have a triple, let's just say, header on today's show for Facebook Live, for YouTube, for Twitch, and on air. This is part one. She is Carla Aguas.
He's Rico Robles live. Bye, monsters.
Monster exclusive interview only on Manila's hottest Monster RX 93.1.